Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about the theme on lifestyle. So let's jump right into it. So this theme on lifestyle really focuses in on helping you to streamline, to focus, to narrow down what it is you want when it comes to your surrounding, when it comes to your environment, and looking at how you can best build margin into your lifestyle by building in rhythms, by building in routines that help you to build out the life and the lifestyle you want to live. Now, I understand with a topic like this that there's going to be people that immediately think of their immediate environment. So they're going to think about everything that's right in front of them, what they have to do next, and how that environment affects here and now. On the contrary, though, you're going to have other people who are looking at the big picture, looking at the opportunities, the possibilities, looking at their ideal world in the future. And so you're constantly going to be dealing with these different types of personalities, these type dynamics that people have that are focused on one thing versus the other. And one is not necessarily better than the other, but it's a matter of figuring out how you specifically operate and then how you need to shift your mindset based on how you operate so that you can see how the other perspective could benefit you. So there are a lot of seemingly small things that affect our environments that we don't focus on. We oftentimes can take into consideration what other people value in their environments, and that can then impact ours, but may not be how we prefer to live out life and the things that we prefer to have in our environments. And so I want to look at this more in depth with you, with helping you figure out what that ideal environment looks like for your future and building that out to today. So oftentimes we build up habits that actually shape our reality. Those habits end up leading to action, which end up defining or setting our circumstance, our surroundings, our environments. And so when you're looking at making decisions, when you're looking at trying to figure out what this margin thing is, what it looks like to even build margin, oftentimes it looks like you reevaluating what your habits are and looking at how your habits have formed the reality that's around you today. And so I went through this process. It took about 6 years overall. At some points being very, focused, and at other points not so much. But over that period of time of figuring out, okay, what habits do I no longer want in my life, and what do they need to be replaced by? And so going through that process, it basically shows you what things need to go. And then you define, okay, over what period of time that those things need to be removed or replaced with something else. And so going through that process, I believe, is very healthy in redefining your environment and reshaping your reality if the reality you live in needs a change. So with your environment, you may be thinking that you have less control about or around your environment than you actually do. And so oftentimes people defer to someone else to make decisions when they actually have control over what they do for a living or who they surround themselves with, what friends they have, where they choose to work, and what their provision looks like. And so oftentimes people defer that to someone else to just fall into a position or to just mingle with or hang out with the people in your sphere, but not be intentional with those decisions. So those decisions ultimately lead up to your legacy, the legacy you leave behind. And I know that legacies are typically referred to the belongings that people leave behind, but I more reference or refer to who you are and the values you leave behind, the stories, the impact that you've had on people's lives. And so when you're looking at your reality, when you're looking at the people you allow in your sphere, the place you live, or the vocation you do, think about it from a standpoint of legacy. Think about it from a standpoint of what you will pass on to future generations at some point. So before the information age and before we live these hyper-connected and hyper-documented lives, there were generations that had lineages that they knew. They knew their heritages, they knew their traditions, they knew stories that were passed down from generation to generation. And oftentimes that can be lost because we are so hyper connected with the here and now. We oftentimes can forget about those who have gone before us, those nuggets of gold that are passed down through stories to us. And oftentimes we can lose focus on the big picture of what our legacy will look like. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is we can focus on building an income or building a living and being focused on our careers, focused on gathering things, focused on making a difference in whatever business we're involved in. But we can miss out on actually building a life and having a positive impact. So even though we are more connected than ever, we can become disconnected from the lineages, from the heritages, from the traditions that were left for us. And so why I encourage you to look at it from this point is looking at a vision for your life from a standpoint of what you want to leave behind, not just the belongings, but actually who you are and the lifestyle you live and the lifestyle you lead, so that you are living a life that is an example to others. And so why I mention this and why this is more serious is the fact that finances feed that. It shouldn't be the other way around. It shouldn't be finances first. It should be you figuring out, okay, what legacy do I want to lead? What do I want to leave behind? And then from that point, based on that, how do I want to live my life from a standpoint of backing out those goals to hit the financial goals to reach that, whatever that is for you. So in this theme, I really want to look at intentionally focusing in on how to build margin so that you are focused in on what truly matters, and then reducing or eliminating those things that don't matter, pushing those aside so that you can focus in on the surroundings, on the environment that you want to have, so that you have the greatest impact, so that you're not just building a living, that you're not just making a living, but that you're building and making a life. So my call to action today comes down to looking at those who have gone before you, just thinking about what legacy was passed down to you, whether through stories or whether through keepsakes or whether through faith or religion, or figuring out what was passed down to you and what has been something that has been instilled in you based on someone else's legacy. And then being able to look at, okay, what legacy do you want to have, and what kind of environment do you need to have today in order to be in the right mindset, in the right place, to then be able to be proactive rather than reactive about the legacy you leave behind. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.